Let's bring back Mr. Madaki Ameh as we continue our focus on the petroleum sector. Thank you so much for staying with me, Mr. Ameh. Now, let's continue this conversation. A lot of people have said that removing subsidy at this time is what the economy needs because of the pressure we see coming with regards running the economy, macroeconomic pressures, of course, and we see that inflation rate is at a high 9.3%, and we also see that there's issues with regards fiscal, monetary management. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I said, we must draw a distinction between removing subsidy and stopping payment of subsidy. You only remove something that is there. But my position, and I've been very consistent on this for many years, is that we currently don't have a subsidy on petroleum products. What we have is an inefficient payment, to some people, because we are not pricing the product appropriately, using the right template. So, yes, should we stop payment of subsidies so that we can save money for the country and channel the money to other sources? I fully agree. That's what we should do.
But if you want to stop the payment of subsidy, how do you intend to mitigate the immediate negative consequences?
No, there won't be. We're not just going to stop it like like turning off a switch. We're first going to change the thinking around how to price a barrel and how to price a liter. And that's what the template I'm talking about, comes up to. We've had too much conventional thinking in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria for too long. And what I think we should do now is, to do a rebasing. Just like we rebased our GDP the other day, we need to rebase our thinking in the industry. We're facing precarious times where the price of the barrel, in the international market will continue to crash. By the time the Iranian oil gets into the market fully, and with the rise of shale oil and shale gas, we are going to have a situation where, quite frankly, we'll be lucky if we sell the barrel at anything of crude at anything more than $20 a barrel. I see it going down to $15, even $10 a barrel. And so this is the time to start thinking cleverly about what to do in that kind of situation. And that's why the template I offer, will really do this country a lot of good.
Okay, so Mr. Ameh, let's talk about what can be done or what should be done in the immediate term.
In the immediate term, what I'm suggesting actually can be implemented like yesterday. And it's not going to change anything. It's just changing the thinking around the way we price the liter and the barrel currently. It can be done, what I think can be done immediately is to, focus on getting the refineries, functioning. I hear that there's a new date for getting Kaduna Refinery on stream, which is like December of this year. But we have Warri, and Port Harcourt, operating at certain levels of efficiency now. But the point is that, if we change our thinking, it doesn't even matter whether we refine locally or we refine in contracted refineries abroad. Because the only difference will be the price of carriage outwards and carriage inwards, which, because of the volumes we're talking about, will pale into insignificance. My target really, and I think the future for this industry, is to ensure that we stop selling crude oil. Nigeria should be able to exit OPEC, in another 1 or 2 years, if we run properly. The reason is that even if we sell a barrel for $100, we're still losing money as a country. So we really need to think of what we can do to refine all that we produce, change the thinking around the pricing, get the prices to the right level, then deregulate the downstream sector of the industry completely. And if we do this, the product will be available in every village, every nook and cranny of the country at these prices, 17 naira per liter or less, and that's when we'll be able to, find, a more efficient way of running our industry, of the downstream sector of the industry. And then we can all go to sleep and the oil industry will be operating the same way as any other sector of the economy operates.
But and then, Mr. Ameh, before we begin to look at all of the suggestions that you've made, do you think that the petroleum industry bill should be passed, all of it, before we begin to look at some of the suggestions?
I think that the PIB is long overdue. I think that the delay that it has witnessed and passed through, I think almost 4 senates now, on Senate sessions or National Assembly sessions, is because the legislators actually think that the law is too complicated. They're not, it's not the normal run-of-the-mill, sensational law that talks about same-sex marriage, that talks about, this and that. It is a complicated technical law, and they just don't want to look at it.
So should it be set aside?
Do
you think the PIB should be set aside, and
No,
other issues that have been raised with regards to that bill really faced before they bring it back to the front burner?
No, I think work on the PIB. Too much money has been spent on that PIB. Too much effort has gone into it for us just pack it. We need to just, the legislators, the 8th Senate needs to, be courageous and just do it, as one of the top priorities, and I think that we cannot just pass the bill the way it is at the moment. The original bill that went to the National Assembly for the first time, when the technical committee was set up, is actually the bill that ought to go. What we have currently in the National Assembly is not a true reflection of the shape in which the petroleum industry bill should be. So we need to go back to the basics. We need to look at that original report that was put together, by that technical committee with the input of Petrol and Mills. If we do that, we will come up with a PIB that makes sense for the country. But the current version of the PIB is just, put together by the former Minister of Petroleum. And I don't think that that's going to be very good for the country.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Ameh, for joining me on the program and sharing your thoughts with us. Of course, we're going to be talking more about it in the course of the months coming, since we know that oil prices keep fluctuating by the day. But thank you so much, Mr. Ameh.